Well, hey, and welcome to the video. So today I want to talk about this. This is the Shure GLXD Plus dual band digital wireless guitar pedal system. It replaces an older model of the GLX with very similar look and function, but features some improvements that we will talk about in this video. First up, I'm going to do an unboxing, show you what you get when you purchase the product, and then we're going to throw it on my pedal board and see if it works. Alright, so taking a quick look at the box here. This is the new and improved version, so it's the GLXD Plus. The old one was the GLXD16, I believe, and I'll drop a link for both in the description, but this is the new version. So there's a few changes that Shure has implemented. Obviously you get the pedal itself, you get the body pack transmitter, and then it includes a standard instrument cable, and that'll work for the majority of instruments you're going to need to use it with. Taking a look on the back here, basic things here that are different from the predecessor. This operates on two different bands, so the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5.8 gigahertz band. So essentially, if you think about your household Wi-Fi, 2.4 is the band that's going to give you kind of a longer range, but there's a lot more frequencies in that band. Typically, all your electronic products typically operate in that band. And then the 5.8 gigahertz. It's just a higher frequency band. The only drawback to that one is you're not going to get as much range. When you're talking about like download speeds for a computer, the 5.8 gigahertz band is typically going to give you a little bit faster download speeds, but at the cost of range. So just like the predecessor, it comes with a body pack that has a built-in rechargeable battery. We'll take a look at that as well. It includes a USB charging cable and a wall plug for charging the unit itself. Alright, so getting it unboxed here, let's take a look. And on the sides here, we'll just take a quick peek. Basically, just serial info, and on the other side is a QR code for getting set up quickly. Alright, let's open it up. Fancy. Scan here for product setup videos. Okay, we won't do that. Comes with the user guide and warranty info, as you would expect. And we'll just take a look right here. So, looks like we've got the pedal itself here and the body pack transmitter. So let's start at the top here and we'll take a look at this. Standard transmitter. Looks like a good size. Got a nice clip on it that you can reverse if you need to. That's obviously to remove the battery. And then a simple on-off switch. Take a look next at the pedal itself. So that's the Shure unit itself. It's heavy. It's definitely all metal. Nice foot switch. On the back, basically just some very simple instructions for syncing it up. The cool thing about this version, the newest version, it's got instrument in and instrument out. So basically what that means is if you have an instrument in input, instead of using the transmitter, if you're just practicing or whatever, you can plug directly into the unit and you can use a cable as opposed to having to unplug your wireless from whatever your next in line thing is. You can just keep it all plugged in and plug your guitar right into this. And then the other thing, you can run it off of 9 volt or 12 volt power. So 400 milliamps is the specifications for the unit. And then on the front here, pretty standard, we've got link, mode, and group and channel buttons, and then your LEDs here. You'll be using those for the tuner as well as for checking battery life and signal strength. And then we've got 3 indicator LEDs down here: audio, mute, and RF for checking the signal. Okay, continuing on here, take a look under this box here. So this is just the AC adapter. It's actually a bigger unit than I thought, so without totally dismantling it, because I'm not going to be using this, I'm going to put it right on my pedal board. Just a pretty basic Shure AC power adapter. Specifications on that guy: 12 volt output, 400 milliamps. Okay, good to know. Well, I think I can run my power supply at 12 volts. Don't know if I need a splitter cable, but that's good to know. So that's the power supply. Also comes with some documentation in the box for the power supply. Okay, and this is the AC to USB adapter. Oh, and the battery and stuff. Okay, so here's the battery. Pretty standard Shure battery. This is the instrument cable comes with. And this is part 1 of the adapter. So standard USB-A, which is okay. So that means our cable is going to be USB-A, which I guess is fine. It's a USB-C going into the transmitter, and then USB-A to wherever you're charging it. So it's nice that the body pack transmitter is actually USB-C, because it is 2023 after all. So that's what you get in the box. Now let's get it set up, and I'll give you some initial impressions. Alright, so I got the unit somewhat adhered to my board here. I was replacing a Polytune tuner up here, so nothing is really solidified as of yet, but let's take a quick look at it here. Okay, so I'll just quickly talk about my signal flow. So the guitar is going into the Shure unit, and then the Shure is going into my quad cortex, and then I've got just basically going out to studio monitors from there. So let's take a look. I've got a couple of things to note, I guess, while I was setting it up. I actually did go ahead and check for new firmware. I think the latest that it's currently on is 2.0.17 possibly. Anyway, it was up to date when I checked, but how you do that is there's a USB port on the side here, and you basically just hook up a USB Type-C cable to it, and then you can use the Shure software update utility to check for software updates. And I guess that would update both the pedal itself and the body pack transmitter if needed. I have the unit being powered by my pedal board here, so we'll just turn it on, and for what it's worth, my output on my power supply is supplying 9 volts at 600 milliamps. And they say if you're using a 9 volt supply that you can go up to about 1000 milliamps as your maximum. Alright, so right now it's basically just looking for that RF signal, so I don't have this body pack transmitter turned on, and I'll do that now. Let me turn that on, and you can hear right away that I have signal because the guitar is making noise in my studio monitors. Okay, so we got it hooked up here. So that's just going from the wireless transmitter into the Shure into the quad cortex. So nothing else. I also have a wired output on the side of my board, or sorry, input on the side of my board, which is why this spare cable is here. Now, one thing that I did notice upon setting it up, because I was thinking, oh, it'd be really cool if I could keep that plugged in at all times, and then just basically switch between wired or the wireless transmitter on the unit itself, but it doesn't seem like it'll do that. Basically, when you plug this in, I'll show you here, it basically defaults to the input, so I can go either between the tuner and just the regular receiver mode, which defaults the input. So now I have nothing because I'm not plugged in to the cord that is lined into that input. Then it just takes a second to go back, and now we're in wireless mode again. So in normal mode, it's just basically showing receiver information here, and basically the default mode, it's going to choose between 2.4 or 5.8 at its discretion, basically whatever is going to give you the strongest signal and no dropouts. So by default, that's how it's set up. And basically how the menu system works is when you're in receiver mode, you are basically changing parameters in that mode. dB is gain, so right now it's at unity, and I haven't touched anything yet, so, and it seems like it's giving me about the same signal as I was with a cable before. So if you use the mode button here, you can go, that's gain, and then it just goes back to the current channel that it's on. And obviously the RF is blue here because we are hooked up through the body pack transmitter. If I step into tuner mode, now I've changed this setting already because one of the things I really wanted to have if I was going to replace that Polytune tuner is an always-on tuner. The Quad Cortex, if you've seen some of my other videos, I love the thing, but the fact that you have to push and hold on the tempo button to access the tuner just wasn't working for me. I want to go heel down on my volume pedal and get into a tuner right away. So that's basically what I've set up. Talking about the tuner menu here, so right now the tuner is in default mode, so that's just needle mode. And then essentially if you go through the menu options here, menu, needle, and you can change that to strobe. So here's a strobe, I believe if it just, yeah, so after a few seconds it'll just exit out there. Now we're in strobe mode. That's cool. I'm probably going to change it back to needle mode because I like that better. So you can use the foot switch to confirm. And then the next option you have here is output. So it's showing live right now. So what that basically means is when it's saying live, you've got the receiver display. When you've got receiver display selected, the audio is live. And then when you've got tuner displayed on the unit, the audio is still live. There's also a mute mode, so receiver display, the audio is live, and the tuner display, the audio is muted. So that's useful if you don't have it set up like I do, and you just basically want to use the tuner to mute your signal and tune in between songs or whatever the case. And then there's an option called both, so basically the tuner display and audio is muted, and the tuner display audio is live. So I'm probably going to leave it on live because then I can just hit the foot switch and be in tuner mode, and I've still got my signal and I can run it the way that I want to. The next parameter here is the screen brightness. So A is auto, and then you have a 1 value for low, a 2 for medium, and a 3 for high. So depending on what you need, I'm probably just going to leave it on auto and see how it pans out here. There's also a detune mode, just panning through here. Basically you can tune for instruments that have been detuned up, sharp, or flat in the following increments, and it's showing you can do 5 steps sharp and 6 steps flat. That is that setting. Finally, there's a reference pitch, and I'm probably just going to leave that at what it's set at, which is a 440, and then you can obviously adjust it using these values here. Yeah, 440, 439, sorry, my mistake. And I'm going to leave that there. And then it just goes back to needle mode. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is just a quick little range test. I have a townhouse, so basically this is the bottom floor, and then there's 2 floors up. And I'm just going to play a little bit here and kind of walk around and see what happens. And I don't really know, I haven't checked on what frequency that the unit is operating in, but we're just going to leave it as is and see how it goes. Okay, so I didn't get to hear that. I'll take a listen and then report my findings. But I did hear a few dropouts kind of as I was coming back, or some maybe some artifacts. I'm gonna take a listen and I will report back. Alright, so I took a listen to that video and I was very impressed. I didn't get any sort of artifacts or any sort of breakup until I was actually coming back down the stairs, which was kind of weird. So I went up 2 floors basically, and it was clear all the way up to there, and it didn't give me those little glitches until I was basically at the top of these stairs that are right here. So that's really cool. Now obviously these conditions are way different than you're normally going to find on stage because you're more or less going to be line of sight with the unit. And here I was dealing with walls. I've got at least 2 or 3 different Wi-Fi using things down here right by the unit, and it was pretty rock solid. Would I have recorded with that? Maybe not, but it's definitely rock solid, and I think it's going to be good for on-stage use. My intention is to do a bunch of on-stage stuff. I've got a lot of gigs coming up in the next about month or so. So I'm gonna basically put it through its paces and see what I feel after about a month of use and a ton of shows in very challenging conditions. Essentially, these gigs are festival style gigs for the most part. There's gonna be lots of different Wi-Fi stuff where all the musicians that are on stage are gonna be on wireless ears. So that's another thing to throw into the mix. I know with the predecessor unit of this Shure, the dropouts and stuff were very minimal. I never heard anyone that I knew that had one of these units complain about dropouts. They always said that they were super rock solid, so I'm really hoping that this one's going to be the same. Let's talk quickly about price. So I'm in Canada. Essentially the unit sells here at the big chain music stores for $679 Canadian. I believe they're around $4.99 US, and you can get them at most big chain music stores, and they're very accessible now. They've been out for a little while, but that's basically what we're dealing with here in Canada with inflation and everything like that. It's quite a bit more expensive. Alright, so I'm going to make another video in about a month with using the unit full-time, playing a ton of shows in a bunch of different environments, and I'll give you my 1 month update. But for now, thank you very much for watching. If you found the video useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out as a new YouTuber, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.